What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, SoundHound is up 3.03%, largely piggybacking off of the broader market's momentum. 1181 the low, 1278 the high. So absolute insanity, the fact that it did actually dip when Powell was about to do his speech. So there was clearly a lot of fear, but lucky to those individuals that did buy the dip. So if you were one of those, give yourself a shout out. But 40.8 million shares being traded, 47 is the average. So a good amount of volume. And if we do look at the secondary market and also the dark pool, you're seeing a lot of transactions. So definitely good to see. Even moving over here briefly, you're seeing kind of the algorithmic trading a little bit lower than what it has been. It's still a big chunk of the overall volume, but overall though, it's rather timid today. So definitely good to see in my opinion, but what do I know in life? So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from all that fun stuff, moving on to this, the main reason why the broader market is moving higher is because of Powell's speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium. And so I think leading into that speech, people were going to be some extreme move, either higher or lower, depending on what he did hint at. And ultimately, this is his transcript. He did allude on several different kind of points that there was going to be a cut, such as right here and here. These are two of the main ones in my opinion. But one thing that I did state that leading into this speech, why he was going to cut is because of the labor. And this section right here was pretty much it. So it's because of the weakening labor. That is why he's cutting, not because of inflation, but rather because of the labor. And so, yeah, essentially that's kind of a good thing. Market took that as a very, very strong positive. Of course, in here, it was, in my opinion, subtle jabs at Trump and just the tariffs and stuff like that. So the market's kind of not really paying attention to that because, of course, we got, for the most part, confirmation of a cut, and that's all the market truly cares about. So right now there is I'll just hit refresh just to give you a full update on this. So it looks like now there is a 85.2% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut for the September 17th meeting. So most likely the market will start to price that back in, because over the last couple of trading days, I feel like that's been kind of priced out. But no news from SoundHound, no SEC filings or anything like that. So like I said, it's just merely piggybacking off the broader market. Shorts aren't doing all that much. So shorts right now are increasing 116,000 shares. You would have anticipated that shorts would be returning. That would be the smart thing to do, but clearly not that much. But 30.7% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 112 million shares overall being shorted. You see some signs of manipulation. So for instance, right here, cost to borrow minimum is negative. So that does mean that there is a broker or brokers paying people to short SoundHound. So kind of sketchy behind the scenes, but you can kind of see exactly why the SoundHound did pull lower, roughly around the Powell speech, is because at the time shorts did increase 2.6 million. So they hit it hard and fast, caused it to go down, and then they kind of let back and just let it go. So kind of interesting, a lot of manipulation as per usual. But yeah, let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from that, looking at the options, this is NEO, so you guys don't need to look at that. But for SoundHound, 8.14 million in calls, 2.17 million in puts, and then 46% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. So good to see big money still anticipating for higher highs to come. This similarly is NEO. So looking at SoundHound, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around that, for the most part, going into next week, about that $14 range. So definitely good to see. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 12. So a lot more upside is anticipated, with today being Friday though, and it at about $12.60, give or take. This is the open interest. So you have 4,000 at that 12.50, 5,000 at that 13, 5,000 at that 13.50. So as it stands, you have basically 6,000 in open interest. So that's not really going to cause any gamma squeeze or any crazy stuff like that, which is rather unfortunate. If SoundHound for whatever reason was to have closed above, let's say 14, I'd say best case scenario, then potentially you could have saw a little bit of a gamma squeeze. But even given where it's at right now, I wouldn't be surprised if shorts do wake up during power hour just to suppress it below 1250, just to have that 4,000, even though it's not all that much, have that expire worthless. Aside from all that, with it at 1255, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot, so 1126 is going to be a strong support, and then 1266 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Very wide gaps, but then again, SoundHound's been very volatile, so this is why you are seeing kind of wide gaps. But nonetheless, I'm looking at the 1-day chart on a side note because this is very strong support and resistance points. So just watch for 1266, at least in the short term, the next couple trading days, of course, going into next week. But like I said, 1254, it is getting dragged down, so I wouldn't be surprised if shorts try to have it close below that 1250 mark. Aside from all that fun stuff, it is still essentially below that ALMA, so insinuating that it does want to consolidate. At least today is green. I don't think shorts can take that away at this stage in the game. So it is breaking that crazy trend that SoundHound has been on. But 50-day moving average, so 1168, and then 200-day moving average at 1147. So just kind of watch for those. Aside from that, stochastic RSI, because of all this crazy stuff that has been happening, it has definitely been overdone, and so it is considered very oversold. So a good piece of news, if SoundHound has it, then you could see a push higher. But I think at this stage in the game, the next big thing for SoundHound is just going to be clearly, I think, rate cuts. That might be the next one, unless SoundHound has something else in their back pocket, but I don't believe so. Aside from all that though, there hasn't been any articles really coming out associated to SoundHound, and no new analyst ratings. So it is just piggybacking off the broader market. So let me know your viewpoint on SoundHound. Where do you realistically see things going? So in my opinion, now that the market does get the green light that there's going to be a 25 basis point cut for the September 17th meeting, there's going to be a lot of a push higher, but it is going to get most likely to a key pivot where now fundamentals are going to come into play. So I think when it comes down to SoundHound, you're going to see a lot of volatility, but that will be good if you're a day trader or wanting to kind of dollar cost average or just do options. I know I always push options because they can be very profitable and beneficial whether you are long or short. You can make money both directions. Even this pullback that's been happening with SoundHound, if you did time it right and bought puts, you would have made a ton of money. Similarly, if you actually bought calls while it was going up, you would have made a ton of money as well. So it's all about timing. Take the emotion out, look at the trend, look at the chart and the big money and institutions and everything else. This is why I do my videos, so you guys can have all the tools and kind of have my interpretation of what is happening behind the scenes to make sound decisions. And there was no pun intended with sound and SoundHound. But one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.